brace yourselves, because this may shock people of mild sensibilities. But the former president of the United States may have lied. Be still, my beating heart. It turns out that one of his employees, after uh, uh, deciding he's not going to go with a Trump attorney, changed his story. And if I'm not mistaken, he's now using a government appointed attorney. I'm not sure if I heard that right on the first pass through, because I was squealing like a 10-year-old girl who had been gifted a pony for her birthday when I heard this news.
We have breaking news. There is a bombshell in the classified documents case to tell you about. That is thanks to a new court filing from special counsel Jack Smith. Prosecutors revealing for the very first time
Before we enjoy it, let's make sure we can all enjoy it equally here, with a little piece of honesty. I was squealing like a 36-year-old man would squeal if given a pony for his birthday. Ponies are lovely.
potential turning point in their investigation. It led to last month's superseding indictment, telling Judge Cannon that last month an employee at Mar-a-Lago, he's known in the indictment as Trump Employee 4, retained a new lawyer, got new representation, and retracted false testimony from this filing. Quote, when Trump Employee 4 testified before the grand jury in the District of Columbia in March of 2023, he repeatedly denied or claimed not to recall any contacts or conversations about the security footage at Mar-a-Lago. On July 5th, 2023, Trump Employee 4 informed Chief Judge Boasberg that he no longer wished to be represented by Mr. Woodward and that going forward he wished to be represented by the First Assistant Federal Defender. Wow. Immediately after receiving new counsel, Trump Employee 4 retracted his prior false testimony and provided information that implicated Walt Nauta, Mr. De Oliveira, and Trump in efforts to delete security camera footage as set forth in the superseding indictment. Wow. So.
Yeah. I'm glad we froze it there. The fella on the right there, I imagine that is the face Trump's lawyers made when they heard this news. Oh my God, we're that's it. That's the game. No, this is just at first blush here. That this is exactly what we were expecting to happen bit by bit. I'm delighted to hear it already happened a month ago. But when we heard news that Trump was running out of money and making some wild decisions based upon money, this was, of course, soon to follow. He doesn't have real loyalty from anyone, and he's not been. I mean, let me put it like this: you and I could build something, and I like y'all. But if you asked me to do something, I wouldn't be doing it because I like you. I'd be doing it because we have the same set of principles, more or less. We're in the same ballpark. We want, broadly, as far as I know, the same things. Trump doesn't have that advantage. Trump's trying, from what I can tell, he's trying to get a bunch of people to help him get away with a crime. And so as soon as he runs out of carrot, he's not the one holding the stick. That's the government. The stick is prison. So if Trump loses the ability to essentially bribe his way into controlling these people, his defense is based on lies, and those lies are going to come undone. People are going to say, well, it was a good run, but it's over now, and I'm not going to prison for nothing.
Andrew Weissman, help us make sense of the timeline here. I mean, I was on the air with you when the superseding indictment came out,
Yep.
and I'm always gobsmacked at the crimes that Trump gets people to commit on his behalf. It appears that this employee at Mar-a-Lago has changed his testimony to tell the truth, and I wonder how that impacts his status as well as Trump's.
Sure. So this is how you get cooperating witnesses. This looks to me like you have the Mar-a-Lago IT guy went and either gave an interview or gave grand jury testimony that the government could prove was false. And it is also an indictment in a colloquial sense of the legal system when you have so-called House counsel. Cassidy Hutchinson gave everybody a crash course on what happens in this kind of political case. I saw it all the time in Enron. I saw it all the time in mob cases, having handled those at the beginning of my career, where House counsel is not looking out for the interests of the person who they represent.
Another point. I might do stuff just because I like it. I don't like move a couch. I'm just talking prison time, y'all. But don't you think it's funny that these huge corporations and mafia organizations, or just let's not racialize or nationalize it, the frickin' organized crime rings, are the ones that have house counsel? I have not heard of a place that has house counsel that I'm entirely okay with. And I say this having come from multiple, I can't even say one, multiple companies that have such a thing. Literally, in the same building, lawyer. There's an office down the way from yours where you go to ask legal questions, and I never got there, but I just presume they also represent you in court. It just shouldn't be. There's an inherent conflict of interest, and if a company's in trouble, no, not a company. If an organization is in trouble, and it requires any sort of coercion to stay out of trouble, the company's in the wrong. The organization's in the wrong. And we should at least take note of the fact that House counsel is a through line with a lot of the shadiest elements of our society.
And so here, the person wisely got separate counsel. We saw the exact same thing with Cassidy Hutchinson, where she gave testimony about what her prior counsel, paid for by folks aligned with Donald Trump, had advised her to do, which was, according to her, obstruct justice. Here, with independent counsel, you have somebody who has flipped and is clearly an insider, saying what it is that the three charged defendants, that is Mr. Trump, Mr. Nauta, and Mr. De Oliveira, did in connection with the obstruction scheme. It's not surprising that you would have more than those three people. In fact, I suspect there are quite a few more, and this is how you make a case. You do that, but it is really important that people have independent counsel.
And Andrew Weissman, the fact that he is telling the truth with what sounds like a public defender, does that change how the government approaches Mr. Nauta, who I believe the government believed was lying to it from the beginning?
Well, Mr. Nauta was, by all accounts, was given the exact same choice. I mean, he is where he is because he decided not to cooperate. He made choices about his own conduct, and he is being charged for that. It remains, of course, the government's burden to prove that. But he chose a very different path, which is why he is a defendant in that case. The same thing is reported to be the case with Mr. De Oliveira. I can't imagine that Jack Smith wouldn't have been interested in their truthful testimony as witnesses, and may have been even willing to immunize them or have a non-prosecution.
Just one office often do you hear Fox News guests saying things like, well, listen, it remains the government's burden to prove X, Y, or Z, as opposed to just shooting off at the hip infinitely? Not very often. However, that being said, I follow the golden rule with Fox News, which is they've said things that make the rest of their opinions pretty much irrelevant. So I don't watch them often. I don't watch them to get informed, because I have to do more work to figure out what they lied about than I would simply watching somebody else to get informed. But if you watch Fox occasionally, and they do have moments like this, let me know. I'd like to see where we can start cracking into the things they at least claim to believe in. Just a thought.
Agreement. In other words, say, if you just tell us what happened and what you did, we won't charge you with it, but you have to be 100% candid. And this goes on all the time. I suspect, while we know about this person in Mar-a-Lago, that there are other people in a similar situation that we will learn about as this case goes forward.
My God. That was a delight. Are really going to make us listen to that whole jam? My apologies. So, yeah, we have a major witness flipping. I think we talked about this guy a little bit. My understanding is it's the person who would have been a direct witness to an attempt to destroy evidence. And it's frankly not crucial. I realize that they came in pretty strong there, but it's not crucial. There is no one part of this case, at least according to my understanding. There's no one part to the documents case that is absolutely crucial, because Trump pretty blatantly disrespected the American people and the laws the rest of us have to live under. And he did it for an extended period of time, and to our shame, he was given chance after chance to do it again and again. And it sucks that happened. He shouldn't have been allowed that many chances. We shouldn't be able to build such a case against him. I mean, we the people, being represented in the form of the prosecutors, shouldn't have been able to build such a case against him, because he shouldn't have had the opportunities to do the things he did. But he did. And there is reams of evidence, literally, if you were to print it out, taller than some of our more impressive monuments. The evidence is. So, not any one person is not going to make or break this case, but it is damn good to hear that the House counsel is no longer going to be affecting one of the witnesses, and that, yep, sure enough, they're changing their tune.